it's me, Renee. I'm back. So today I'm here for the A to C book tag. It originated on the perpetual pages. It originated on a book blog. Now it's been going around every few months, I think, around on BookTube because it's a fun, long, easy-ish tag to do. And yeah, it's a fun tag to do. Though, as usual, I don't really want to be normal and ordinary. I want to be quirky and me and original. So, instead of doing the A to C book tag, which, as you might kind of guess, it's based around the English alphabet, A being the first letter, C being the last, I am doing the A till O, being the first and the last letter in the Norwegian alphabet. Meaning, it's not this does not mean I'll be talking in this video in Norwegian, don't worry. It just means I've added 3 more prompts or questions. Because yes, in Norwegian we have 3 more letters. A, Ö, O. It's actually kind of fun video going along with that one. That's not related to me at all. But I'll link that in the blue because that's quite fun really. And yeah, you can check that out. And yeah, let's just start, shall we? And yeah, of course, I'll link the creator in a doobly-doo. I'll also link Stephanie because she's the channel that I saw this tag for the first time. I saw it many months ago, I mean, like March or something, and I thought like, that looks like a fun tag. And I haven't really done it before now, but like, it looks so much fun, so I thought like, you know what, I'm going to do these sometimes during these 2 weeks because celebration and fun time, and yeah, I'm just kind of celebrating the goodness in these 2 weeks and the importance. But yeah, so this is the A till O book tag. Question number 1. A. Author you read the most books by. This would This would actually kind of be by default Meg Cabot. I loved her when I was younger. Well, I still do like her, but I suppose when I was younger, she was one of my few favorite authors. Now I have many, but I still read Meg Cabot books every now and then. But yeah, so Meg Cabot, she's I suppose more or less probably most known for writing the Princess Diaries, which are the books that the movies are based on. Though the movies are quite different, they're quite something else, really, quite something else. But yeah, so the Princess Diaries, the original books are the original series consists of 10 books, and then you have a spin-off series with 4 books, 5. I'm not completely sure, but yeah, I'll link it in doobly-doo. Well, I'll tell it in doobly-doo. And then there's a spin-off book, and then I think there's 2 of maybe 1 short stories. But yeah, so if you count like the original series, 10 books, that's quite a lot of books really. I read them all, and then so I've read those 10. I haven't read all, but I've read most in the spin-off series. The Notebooks of a Middle Grade Princess. And then I also read The Manager. It's a book series of 6 books. So then you like 10 plus 6, 16. And then I read a lot of her standalones, like How to Get Popular, How to Be Popular, Teen Idol. Had Teen Idol audiobooks on audiobook. I loved it. I read Avalon High 1 and 2. I thought that was one of the more fine books by her. I read Head of Welsh. That's 5 books. I've read Queen of Babel. Well, I read the first 2 books. I haven't read the last one, but I read 2 of those. So yeah, you're getting up more or less around 20. No, sorry, actually around maybe 25 now. And yeah, that's just from the top of my head. But I read a lot of her books. So yeah, I'm kind of thinking that even before them, I haven't really done the research like particularly down to the dots, but I'm pretty sure it's Meg Cabot. I think it would be difficult to have anyone else read it. I mean, even though I have other favorite authors there, Meg Cabot has written so many books, and I've read so many of them. I'm pretty sure it's her. So yeah. And then next question is best sequel ever. Yeah, this is a mean question and a difficult one. How am I gonna choose? I mean, there's so many good sequels, at least in my opinion. I've been very fortunate to read a lot of books where the sequel is very good. Yes, sadly, a lot of times you have the second book syndrome, or the second book is just meh or awful, or the third book is just very bad. But there's also actually a good amount of examples where opposite, where the sequel really takes it to a whole other level. And yeah, but yeah, so kind of difficult to answer this one, would say at least. But the question is, best sequel ever? There's no S in there. I'm just gonna shoot, and I'm gonna say the yeah, as I'm holding up, I have just I have 3 out of 4 sequels. So the series is consists of 5 books. I only own 4 of them. But yeah, so the Colleen Stoker, the Stoker and Holmes series. Yes, Clockwork Scarab, the first book, which is over there, is marvelous. Very good start to the series. You wouldn't really think that it can get any better. You just kind of think like the rest of the series is the same level of high quality. No, it gets better. This is the third book. It's just, and then the fourth book is just like, what is going on? Did did Colin Gleason make a deal with the devil, maybe? And then the last book just tops it all off. It's just amazing, amazing. Needs to be on everyone's TBR. Definitely needs. Put it on your Christmas list, please. You really should. So yeah, that one. I have the books close to me here, and I just kind of fell down because. So yeah, that's one example of sequels that I really enjoy. Though, yeah, I would also just kind of suggest you look at my channel and see like my most favorite series, because in there I mentioned like all the books. And yeah, in most of my most of the videos where I talk about top 5 of the series, or top 5 this and this, I like mention like this book is very good, and the third is not that good, but the second is very good, and yeah, I talk about that. So yeah, question number 3 for we have to come to letter C now. C for currently reading. Actually, today I actually started a book and also finished a book. But yeah, with the one I'm currently reading is the ship. I'm just gonna double check what it's called. It's something ship. I should know this by heart, but I don't. Let me double check it. The Ship Beyond Time by Heidi Heilig. So it's the second book in a duology. It's a time travel duology, and yeah, since it's time travel, I thought like today I felt like having something funnish. So I started today because it's we're still in the history challenge readathon week. So I'm like, well, time travel. I mean, you travel in history, so it works, doesn't it? Yes, it's not technically history, it's alternative history and blah blah blah, but still, I mean, I'm just, yeah. So that's what I'm kind of currently reading, though, yeah, I am also reading other stuff as well. That's just, was maybe just have most like the last book I've started, but yeah. Question 4, or D, drink of choice while reading. Some people seem to like love to have like a snack or like have something to drink while they're reading. I'm not really one of those people who do that. Like, I suppose I might do a snack or something while reading. It's not unheard of. Like, if I'm doing a juice, I might have like a cup of tea. Or if I'm if I'm sitting in good chair for a long time, I might have a cup of water. But it's not really like I have a specific really reading snack or reading tea really, or reading drink. I just kind of drink whatever I'm in the mood for. It's not really like I'm in the mood for something specific if I'm reading, really. So yeah. Then next question is E for e-reader or physical books. And yeah, here, even though I'm a millennial, I'm 28, I still don't really like e-readers. Like, I suppose I used to like, sometimes like, maybe I think 10 or 15 years ago, I would spend like hours just like reading chapters or like excerpts on Amazon of different books because just of getting a feel for books. And I was fine, but I still felt like I felt like kind of disconnect, like reading while watching a screen. I didn't really feel like that kind of got together in my head. It didn't really work. I didn't really connect with it. I didn't really like it. I suppose I haven't really tried to read like I do. Well, now like in as I said before, I have an app now that I mainly use for audiobooks, but you can get e-books now as well. So I suppose I could try that one. Like it's on my cell phone, so could try that one. But I'm still like I'm not really sure. I'm kind of hesitant to it, but never say never. Never say never. But at the moment, no physical books. Next question is sorry. Next question is coughing. No, that's not it. Next question is F. Fictional character you would have dated in high school. So again, kind of a difficult one because like there's so many interesting characters in books, at least to me really. But I suppose often like if you ask like who would you date or who would you kiss or it's stuff like that, I'm like I often end up defaulting. I suppose often people do that. And yeah, so I'm gonna say Jesse De Silva from the Mediator books. Jesse, he's just so swoony. He knows Spanish, he knows English. He might know some French, I'm not sure. He has lots of interest. He's so caring. He's protective, that's kind of nice. And he's just so interesting. I really like him. Though, yeah, in a spin-off book, I just kind of felt like what happened with him. So yeah, from original series, not in spin-off. But yeah, Jesse the Silva. Yeah. The next question is G. Glad you gave this book. Sorry, glad you gave this book a choice. Sorry, a choice. I'm giving you a choice book. Glad you gave this book a chance. I suppose this one could be interpreted in some different ways. It could be like mean that it's a book that you didn't want to read, but you read it because of someone pressuring you or something. Or it could be like a book that you started but then wanted to do enough, but you end up not doing nothing. I suppose that could be it. It's not really specified. I ended up going with like a book that it's not like particularly necessarily my style, and that's Kindred by Octavia Butler. So yeah, I'm not sure where I heard, but I'm pretty sure I heard of Octavia Butler a few years ago, just kind of around. And then I found this in a bookstore. And yeah, I'm actually pretty sure I heard about Kindred before I bought it. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I think I saw it on some like Black Lives Matter or like Black Books You Need to Read lists going around this year. And I was interested in this one. But I also like, because like I saw that it was about the slave period. So for like, okay, slave periods, that's probably some torturing or some violence and stuff. And that's not really usually my style. And then also I saw someone, I'm not sure if that was after I bought it or not, but yeah, I saw actually someone who described this book as science fiction, and that's not usually my cup of tea either. I like fantasy, I don't really like science fiction that much, so that made me hesitant to read it. But then like I still kind of wanted to read it because like I heard great things about Octavia Butler. Like also, if you see here, there's 1, 2, 3. There's 3 pages of praise of people like saying you need to read this. BBC says you need to read it. And also, like, if you go to it on Goodreads, Rick Riordan says it's amazing, and yeah, it is. And I suppose, yeah, I think like everyone loves this book. It has lots of fans, and yeah, I end up yeah, as I said before, as you might have guessed, I end up reading this in one go and love it. It's one of my favorite books now. And yeah, true, there's some violence in there. There's some uh, torture in a way. There's some like beatings, and there's some close to rape scenes. But there's also some joy and happiness and fun. And yeah, even though like it's difficult to read about, it's difficult topic sometimes, it's still important to do it now and then because yeah, this is time travel, so that's sadly not real, but like it depicts a real time in the world, in a real time in like a real aspect of history. And I really think that's important to like be aware of the world and like what's happened. Like even though some events in history and some time periods in history were full of war and suffering and stuff, it doesn't really mean you should ignore it. I mean, even though something makes you sad, you shouldn't really ignore it. You should still like kind of explore that and just kind of yeah, you should read that sometimes as well. I'm not saying that it's a book you should read like every day or like a book you should read all the time. And it's good to have fluffy books sometimes also, but like this is definitely worth a read and a book everyone should read. Read it. And let's move on. Sometimes some prompts are gonna make me talk. That's how it happens sometimes, obviously. But yeah, question number H. But yeah, next prompt, H, hidden gem. With this one, I suppose what's the question again? I could just, sorry, could just refer you to my recent video on underrated books because underrated, I would say, is kind of synonymous with hidden gems. And that there in that video, I mentioned a lot of hidden gems or underrated books. But I do also kind of think that no, that's not what I'm thinking about. Let's still think what I'm thinking about. Hidden gems. La la la. La. Yes. I think like because I have some books take close, so I'm just kind of curious like which books that I use books which ones because organization system, no, that's not me. But yeah, remembered I'm doing this one. Though this is kind of like because sometimes you think like what's the defines a hidden gem? Hidden gem, I suppose a lot of people think like it's something a book that's not talked about or a book that's not sold, like it's not a bestseller. So this is a bestseller. It's part of the Skullduggery Pleasant series. This is like so it's so someone saying like with this one I'm not like saying like this book, I'm saying like this whole shebang, this series, Skullduggery Pleasant. I kind of feel in a way it's hidden gem-ish. Yes, it's a bestseller. It's translated to a lot of languages. But I believe in a way that it's kind of more known in Europe and kind of outside the US than in the US, even though it's written by Irish author. So of course they can read it as well. And it's also published in the US. Rick Riordan loves this series. Yet like still every time a new book in the series comes out, I don't hear that much really about it. On the middle grade circus or just on the book tribune, on places really. It's just kind of comes and goes. Maybe one or two people talk about it and then it comes and goes. And I don't understand it. I mean, this series, it has moral grey characters, villains that will make you pee your pants, plot points that are just so amazing. It has originality till the max. Yeah, some of the plot points, like, okay, I can see you inspired because of that and that, those and those tropes and those series. But for the most part, it's so original. You have LGBTQ representation. You have representation of different backgrounds. Like there's an Aussie character, there's an English character, there's lots of Irish characters. You have American characters like from the States. so much stuff. You have family trouble, you have friendship trouble, you have end of the world issues. If you need a new book, pick up this series. There's something for everyone in it. Everyone. And why it's not bigger on everyone's to read list, or like more out there and people's like thinking of great books out there. Books I don't understand. It makes no sense. No sense. But yeah, let's move on because yeah, quite a few questions left, really. And the next question is, yeah, this probably should. You know what? I'm gonna get my tea because this is still gonna take some time. I remember the next question is gonna take some talking. So yeah, I'm gonna get some tea. Be back in a minute. Just gonna wait you there. I got myself a cup of tea. It's not completely hot, but it's tea. It's lemon in it and ginger, and yeah. So it's definitely helping my voice now, making it better, fulfilling more. And let me put my tea away for a bit. Let me put it away. Bring it here. No. I'm putting it there. So many choices. But yeah. So, moving on. Next prompt question is important moments in your reading life? I suppose this could be a lot of different moments, at least for me. I've had like kind of different moments. But I'm kind of gonna cheat a bit and gonna mix two. But yeah, okay, so a little bit of backstory. I love to read all my life, yeah. But like when I turned like 10, 11, I felt like I had kind of maybe in a bit like a Matilda moment. Like I felt like I read most of the books in the library, and I felt like there weren't really any new books that interested me, and I kind of felt like I love to read, but like in the library, I read so much that I think I kind of read more or less all Nancy books, and like I'm kind of grown out of them, and I really love Goosebumps, but wasn't that into them. I liked them, but didn't love them. And yeah, I love the books that I used to read earlier. I've either grown out of or I've finished. So it's kind of like thinking, like, what should I do? I mean, I love to read, but there's no good books in the world anymore. And this was also coming out at times when I was like 10, 11, well, 11, 12. So at the end of primary school, at least that's how it works here in Norway. And that was kind of the end of my happy years in a way, because I had some troubling time in middle school with the bullies and stuff. And so yeah, at the end of like primary school, things started to going worse. And I suppose in a way that me not like finding good books kind of also like didn't really help that. But yeah, so when I was like 10, 11, I found some books now and then, but like I end up reading maybe like 4 or 5 books every 6 months, in a difference to like 20 books or 30 books in like the years before prior. So yeah, my reading amount kind of definitely changed. And then I was 12, I think I was 12, turned 14, 12 or 13. I went to a flea market. There was like lots of flea markets that local marching band had around that time. Like every year they had flea markets where the money would go to marching bands. And I just loved flea markets, so I kind of continuously, I always went, because like you never know, like I had this idea, like you never know what you're gonna find used, and you're gonna find a book that's out of publish, or maybe you're gonna find a book that's perfect for you. I mean, I really like the idea of used bookstore and flea markets, because they just kind of like the possibilities are endless. I mean, there's so much books you can find, and I mean, New Year if you go to a bookstore that's like with new books, you more or less know you're gonna get the best selling and the books that's come out in the last 5-6 years, probably less. But in used bookstores, there's so many opportunities, so many years, and I just love that idea and that concept really. But yeah, so yeah, I went to a flea market. I was 12, 13, and I found this book, Old Magic, Old Magic by Marion Crowley. I found it in Norwegian, but yeah, that's the English title. And I kind of first I just saw the cover and thought like, this looks interesting. The cover was one of those covers with like two people on cover, but I didn't really mind that much. And I thought the cover looks good. I turned it over, looked at the back, read it over like, this time travel and this magic. This one sounds really, really cool. And there's also prophecy in this one. And there's also like chosen. No, this not prophecy, but there's also oh, words. There was also curse. Yeah, there was also a curse, like a seventh son on seventh son, and I really enjoyed that trope. As was people may say like that's overdone and stuff. I still kind of like those classical tropes, but yeah, I really like that. So I bought that book. I might have bought other books as well, but yeah, at least I bought that book. I went home. I think I more or less read it in one sitting. And after finishing that book, I definitely thought like, okay, there definitely are books out in the world who are great. It's not. There's still hope for me. There's still lots of amazing books out there, and that kind of gave me back love for reading. That kind of renewed my love for reading, and I started talking to people in my school like, okay, I know you like to read as well. What do you read? And then a friend of mine recommended Princess Diaries books because, oh, this books as well. Didn't really know that before then. And then I started reading those books. And then I read the Princess Diaries, and then I found some other series, but still didn't find very much. So my reading got up a bit, but not very much. And then, like the year after, we went to England for summer vacation. And okay, so just kind of also digression, but kind of important side bit. So in 2000 and 2001, I was actually living in Sydney, Australia. So went to school there, kind of obviously. So I've actually more or less all my life have very good grasp on the English language. And yeah, also started reading Harry Potter books when I was in Australia. So I more or less always read Harry Potter books in English because that's how it started. And then yeah, so when I was 13, 14, I was in England summer vacation, I thought like, you know what? I kind of want to read other books than Harry Potter in English. So I went to a bookstore, I found more Mary Curley books, and I found the Sally Lockhart series, and I just found so many good books what's the words again? That summer vacation, and yeah, and also that's kind of like opening me up to like, why can I read in English? And like, just the moment you start to understand like you can read in a different way or like read in a different language, I mean it's just so, I mean there's so many more books in English available than in Norwegian, so it just opens a whole new door of possibilities, so that's just amazing. And yes, I would say like that period, like it's kind of started with like the flea market, and like that year after when I went to England, that's kind of, yeah, I would say those are important for me reading wise, very important. So yeah, let's move on, and let's give me some tea. Good, very good. Yeah. So yeah, next question is a bit shorter one, so that's kind of good. Sometimes it's a bit sad in a way if every question is like elaborate, because then you just kind of end up the winning like video like, I have no voice, but I probably will end up this. But yeah, okay. Kinds of books you won't read. With this one, sometimes people like ask, "What do you read?" And like people like often think like it's just fantasy. I don't read just fantasy. They all really love that. But yeah, there are some stuff like I'm saying like often like I love to read a lot of books, but like there are some stuff I avoid. I don't usually like thrillers. So like it depends. Like some books are marketed as like thriller slash mystery. Like I like mystery books, But I don't like it when it gets like too psychological thrillers, like Gone Girl. I don't really have any interest in it at all. And I think some people might call Get Out thriller. I'm not sure. I don't really have interest in watching that either. Similarly, I don't really like horror movies, no horror books or movies actually. I don't really like to get scared. I like action, like I like excitement and like action, but like seriously being scared and like getting nightmares, that's not for me. And then also like dark, so like grimdark, that's not really going to be for me. So like Game of Thrones where there's rape scenes and violence and stuff like that, that's no, not my cup of tea at all, at all. So stuff like that I kind of avoid. So yeah, next question. L, longest book you ever read? This one, I suppose I could kind of do more research, but don't really bother to do that much research, like for all the books and all the prompts, all the videos. But yeah, first I thought it was Diviners because that's around 500 pages. And then, sorry, then I actually remembered CDA, The Dark Artificers by Cassie Clare. I think either the second or the third. I think probably the third book in that trilogy. I think that's maybe around like 800, 900 pages, like a long, long book. I read that one, so I'm gonna say that one. Just kind of need a bit more sip. The tea. But yeah, the next question is major book hangover because, and yeah, book hangovers. I don't really often have them really. I suppose like I get the concept behind them, like if you read a book and you finish it and like, oh my god, you're so in awe, because you're just so emotional of the ending and stuff. But I suppose for me, like I kind of have the perspective like there's so many books out there, so I kind of like quickly move on to next book. But I would say that I think now did I? Yeah. What book did I choose again? I think I kind of actually had a semi book hangover from the Zeppelin Deception, this last book in the Stoken Holmes series. So I'm pretty sure like maybe I waited like 2 or 3 days after I finished this one before I started a new book, because actually, or like before I became invested in a new book. So yeah, this one definitely left me shook, very very shook, in a good way. But yeah, just so many stuff in this book, just like and yeah. Then the next question is number of shelves you have. So shelves, is that like one row or is it like the whole concept, like the whole long thingy? Because like you see, I have like that and that and that. Like there's at least 3 there. But like if you think of like the whole like the top to bottom as one thing, then there's actually 3. You might like think like, what? There's just 2. Well, there's one there, and then I have one in my apartment. Have I said it? Maybe I haven't said it. But yeah, I actually have an apartment now. I'm not moving until next year. But yeah, I have one shelf over there. So yeah, and then that's also unless like, do you count my shelf in my cabin? Do you count the shelf? Well, there's not really any more shelves than that, but yeah, so like, how do you count? But yeah, at least 3. So 3, 3, 2, no, 3, 2, 3 or 4. And then the next question is preferred place to read. Again, I don't really have one. Like, as long as it's somewhere comfortable, and also it doesn't really even have to like be a chair. Like if I'm actually went like when I was like 10, I brought a book with me on a hiking trip. So I was like reading a book while I was walking on a narrow, what's the word again? On a narrow path. And I was just like walking like amongst like a top mountain. I was just in the book. And like my dad said like, left, right, look, no, there's a sheep over there. So like, So yeah, I was just too much into the book. So I suppose that's kind of in a way too much. But yeah, so yeah, anywhere that's comfortable really. As some people, I like reading in bed, but I can also like sit many hours and reading in a chair. I can lay in a couch. It doesn't really matter for me. Doesn't really, yeah. And then the next question is Q, quote that inspires you. I love quotes, so that's kind of like, and I also really like quotes that inspire me as well, like, oh, that's something to live by, like a motto and stuff. But yeah, so this was kind of a bit difficult, and I thought like, you know what? No, it's not that difficult. So I'm not sure the exact quoting of this one. But let's see, as you see, but I think, and I'm also not quite sure, but I'm pretty sure it's Eleanor Roosevelt. But I'll double check it in Doodoo. That said, you should do something that you're scared of every day. And I think that's very important to think like, even though something is scary, you should still do it. And I think it also kind of goes in like with the thing like, where like, even if being brave is not the absence of fear, it's doing something in spite of fear. So that's two quotes, but yeah. So like, it's just so important to like think that, okay, everyone is scared, but even though stuff is scary sometimes, you should still do it. And also like, if you do stuff that scares you, after a while it'll be less scary. Though of course that depends. Like, if you have a phobia against spiders, I don't really think it's gonna be that easy to become friends with spiders. But like, some stuff, like if you don't like new stuff, but if you do something several times 1 week, then it's not new. Or like, if you do something that you haven't done before, the first time it's scary, the second time you do it, it's like, well, I've done it already. So it's like, it's something old. So yeah, so that kind of live by, in a way, like I'm kind of open to new things, and I kind of don't let fear uh, control me, or like not like very much anyway. And yeah. And then next question is, are reading regrets? This one I'm kind of gonna go just say pass on, because I don't really think I have a reading regret really. Well, sorry, I was about to say pass because it's kind of difficult to like, because like it's not like, I feel like this question is kind of like what books are shameful to have to love, and I'm not really ashamed to like say I love this and these books. But then again, I would say, actually, when doing a little thinking really, I would say maybe, well, maybe when I think about it, yes, I regret that I didn't start reading purposefully, like diversely, much earlier. So like, before, I suppose earlier, I suppose I kind of read diversely in a way. Like, I read like more books by, well, I suppose I read more books about like Asia and books set in different places, but often they're books by white authors. So lately I've been like more focused on like the own voices aspect of it all. And also like how sometimes you think like, well, you can't read historical diverse books because that's not something that exists. And like, no, do your research, because that does actually exist. Vanessa Riley, Beverly Jenkins, KJ Chun, KJ Charles, lots of people do it. Jane Kagger has diverse steampunk fantasy, but like, yeah, that's historical-ish. So it definitely is out there. You just kind of have to look more than just kind of, no, it's probably not something that's out there. I mean, you kind of have to look deeper, really. And yeah, that I didn't really do that before, I'm kind of regretting. But then again, it's not like I have cancer, so like I have lots of time, like, and I'm a girl, so woman, so I'm probably gonna live to like 200. So I have lots of time to like to do better and read purposefully and variety like I want to. So yeah, I'm aware of that now, and that's something I'm definitely changing for the future. So yeah. And then the next question is, series you started that you need to finish. Yeah. This is quite some. I've actually finished some this year, but I haven't finished all of them yet. No. I would say one of them is this one. It's the last book in the Rosie Project series by Gorimi Simpson. Grime? How would you pronounce Grime? Simpson. he has a difficult name. But yeah, so this book is the last one, but this one I haven't finished. I also haven't finished Prophecy series by Ellen O. I read the first book, Prophecy, but it's a trilogy, and I haven't read the last two. And I also haven't, and there's lots of series that I have started that haven't like finished the whole series, like they haven't been published or written, but like can of course talk about those really. And then there's the Lady's Guide to Gentleman, yeah, the Theodore Goss trilogy, yeah. The last one, that one, I haven't read either. And then there's also the Alien Mole series. Actually, I've read the first 3 or something. I started the 4th one some months ago. Haven't gone along in it, but yeah, I started it. So yeah, I do want to do that, and lots and lots and lots. But that's just some of them. And then time for more tea. Okay, and then we have tea. I just got some tea, and the next prompt is tea. Ha, fun. But yeah, 3 of all time favorite series. So that's also very nice. It's not just like for F. It's not on F where you have to say like favorite all time series, but you can mention 3. So that's really good. So favorite of all time. Yeah, it's not really much of a competition. The Guardians of Time by Marion Curley. It's perfect from start to end. Well, the 4th book is not perfect, but it's not trash. So yeah, I would still say like the series all in all, it's just perfect. Like as a general series, it has multiple point of view. I suppose I can't really talk them up, but yeah, that one is very good. And then I would say The Mediator by Meg Cabot. I reread it every few, so let's say weeks, not weeks, every few years. Still love it. Still holds up so much. I saw someone talk about it on YouTube some weeks ago, saying that they felt like the first book wasn't that good in some elements. And I suppose that might be true, but I didn't really see it that way. And yeah, I suppose not everyone thinks stuff holds up. For me, it does hold up. So yeah. And the number 3, I'm actually gonna go with Skullduggery Pleasant by Derek Landy. Yeah, the last few books have had some scary scenes where I kind of like end up skimming or just jumping lots of chapters because scary. But besides that fact, the whole series is just so amazing. So yeah, I can't not mention Skullduggery Pleasant. Detective Inspector Me. So yeah, that's also a series you need to get your hands on. Definitely do. But yeah, so yeah, oh yeah, and I also wrote down stuff here. Also we also have, so yeah, I said top 3, and then I'm also about to mention number 4, but I'll mention one more. So we also have the Parcel Protectorate series, which is those 4 and one more. The first book I loaned out to a friend years ago. I don't remember which friend, so yeah, probably gonna have to buy a new copy of that one. But yeah, the Personal Protected series is amazing. Read it. Yeah. And then next question is unapologetic fangirl. Wouldn't that just kind of be? Isn't that kind of repeating the question before, like books are you're a huge fan of? Though I suppose this is kind of a good opportunity to like mention other favorites than the one I mentioned just a few seconds ago. So I'm also a fangirl, high fangirl, very much a fangirl of Geek Girl by Holy Smale. And you also have books, Vampire Academy by Michelle Mead. You have the Wells and Wong series by Robin Welsh. No, by Robin Stevens. Steven? It's Steven, yeah. No, Stevens. Sorry. Then you have the Shamus Daughter and Geekerella series, and yeah, the list goes on and on as it goes with most people. But yeah, I'm just gonna stop it there. Then next question. Very excited for. So this is a book that's not come out yet. That you're excited to read. At least I'm pretty sure it is. Could be a book that's on your TBR that you haven't read yet. I'm interpreting as something that's about to come out that's not out yet. And with this one, I'm saying the left-handed booksellers of London by Garth Nix. I've talked about it quite a lot this year, but yeah, it's urban fantasy, it's booksellers, it's magic societies, it's set in London. Do I need to tell you more? No. And also, for you to full cover, I actually ended up ordering it just like the other day from work because just I couldn't stop myself for like, no, I'm gonna ordering it. So yeah, I did that. Do I still have lots of unread books on my shelf? Yeah. Do I still have much? Yeah. Hey, I'm saying like Daniel Radcliffe. It could be worse. I could be like a heroin addict. Being addicted to books is a good thing to be addicted to. Really good thing. So yeah. And the next is W, worst habits. So that's worst reading habit, I'm assuming. But yeah, with this one, can we say I have one? Well, I suppose maybe it's the fact that often I end up studying lots of books, and then like on Goodreads, I have like 20 books that I'm currently reading, and lots of them I'm not really focusing on. But I wouldn't really say that's like a worst habit because like I'm a mood reader. Sometimes I want to read that book and I want to read it in one sitting, and sometimes I read a chapter and then I feel like no, I want to read something else. And it's not like always the book A is bad. It's just like I'm kind of more in the mood for book B, and then I'm becoming in the mood for book C, and it just kind of happens. And yeah, I wouldn't really call it bad habits, would you? Yeah, I'm not saying it is, but yeah. Other than that, well, yeah, actually, yeah, I know it. Yeah, bad and bad. It's also come bad and bad. Like, so in my library, you can borrow as many books as you want. There's no limit. So like, you can borrow like 50 books you want. So I've actually sometimes gone to a library and often like thinking like, okay, I'm gonna check it out. They have this book. I'm gonna go in, check out that book, and go out. And then I go in and I think like, I can just look a bit. And then, oh, I like that. I'm, so let's say entering. I'm leaving the library with like 3 bags full of books. Like, meaning more like often 20 books, maybe 25 books, many of them big. So I end up going to like walk into a bus stop like 3 steps at a time, stopping, having to have a break because it's so heavy. But like, do I regret it? No. I mean, it's the library. It's not like you use money on it. And like, yeah, I suppose, yeah, I don't really have to borrow them all at the same time, even though the library often, they have lots of good selections. I don't need to borrow them all at the same time. But just often end up doing that. So, yeah, I would say that. Borrowing way too many books at once at the library. Yeah. And the next question is X. X marks the spot. The 27th book on your shelf. So I'm just gonna do like this one. I'm thinking. I'm just gonna 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It is The Dark Days, Deceit by Alison Goodman. A really, really good book. I actually read it like in December or January this year. And yeah, it's the last book in this trilogy. It's steampunk. It's fake Buffy, but historical. And yeah, there's just, and this book has so many twists, and it's so good. It's definitely a book that needs more love. And yeah, let's move on, shall we? We're not that far away from the ending now. Let's have some more tea. Next question is why your latest book purchase. So this one actually fits because, yeah, when I was working yesterday and I bought one book at work. If this is your first video for me, I work in a bookstore. But yeah, so I bought one book, and like I suppose it depends. Like your latest book purchase, does that mean the latest book you bought and paid for, or is the last book you ordered? Because I also ordered some books this year. I'm gonna say it's the last book I paid for, which is so all time. The Feminist Agenda of Gemma Kincaid by Kate Hattemer. Yeah, Hattemer. So it's a YA contemporary feminist book. I love feminist books. They're my kryptonite. This came out this year, and if you might maybe know something, it's a hardcover. I don't really have that many hardcovers. This is like, as I said, it came out this year, so it's only out in hardcover. I thought like, yeah, I'll buy it because I want to read it. So yeah, so that's a news purchase. Then the next question is C, book that, set. C, yeah, book that late. Couldn't go again with Kindred because I did like read it through the whole night. But like, yeah, I kind of want to mix it up a bit, not say the same book for all the questions. So I'm gonna go with, I'm not quite sure, but pretty sure that I think I read Top Marks for Murder. I think I read it like into like the early hours of the morning. I think maybe I was spending out like, I think maybe I finished this book at like 2 or 3 in the morning, like when I was reading it. So yeah, this one definitely kept me up. Very good book. Well, why else would I stay up in the night? But yeah, but it kept me up. So it kept me up in a good way, I suppose. In a way, it's not like I felt like I had to read it, but like I wanted to read it. And yeah, this series is also so good, so good. Check it out. And then that might be the end. If I was English, American, that's not an American accent, or or Irish, something like that. I'm not. I'm Norwegian. So, as you see, I've added 3 extra. So, the next prompt that I added, or the first one that I added, is a, which is, I thought I had done all the preparations. I forgot about that. Okay. So, it looks like an A with an E. So it's A and E combined. A. It's actually also the letter that I use when I say I. So like we have different dialects. So in my part of the world, of that as well. In my part of Norway, we say A, as in I want this and this. I say I vil ha. So yeah, A is my personal pronoun. Not personal. Yeah, personal pronoun. And yeah. And in this regards, I'm saying A for ærlig talt, which means really, or ærlig means honest. So with this one, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna interpret it or like make it as a overrated book. That book that book got way too much attention. With this one, I'm actually gonna cheat. I'm gonna say 2 books. One is a standalone. Well, one is I don't think it's a standalone. I think it's standalone-ish, but yeah. It's Frankly in Love by David Yoon. I read it last year. I didn't really like it. I didn't get the hype at all. I suppose I didn't like it. I almost went towards like hate, but didn't go to hate it. But like, it was like, for me, it was between not liking it and hate. It wasn't in the middle, but it wasn't all the way to it. But like, it was somewhere in there, really. It was closer to it. And yeah, not for me. And then also there's also series Raven Cycle. Yeah, I started the first books in the series. I read the first 2 books. I liked them well enough. I liked the idea behind them, but I felt maybe they were too character based. I felt like nothing ever really happened. It was just so slow. So yeah, I ended up not really reading the 3rd and 4th book. I do know it's being made into TV series, and that I think could be cool. But the books, I don't really think I'll reread them or give them another chance. I don't really think. I suppose maybe if I hear that the audiobook is very good, but so far, nah, not for me really, not for me. So yeah, that's that one, and then we have the penultimate, which is the now it sounds like very Bergen. Yeah, and that's an O with a line in it. Kind of like 21 Pilots. They actually have an in their name, so that's kind of fun. I don't really think they're Norwegian, so that's cool. Though the is also, I think, used in Danish. Yeah, so it's not just Norwegian. Like the Norwegian and Danish and Swedish language are pretty similar, both in written and oral. So yeah. So is for ønske. Ønske means wishing, or yeah, wish. And so yeah, I'm going to talk about book stuff that I want more in books. I've done some videos on like this, like concept, like things I want more of in books, but I want to do it here as well because why not? It's a good way to promote stuff I want. And I would say, yeah, I kind of want more books with like Atlantis and El Dorado, and like the King Midas, like all those like ancient myths. I think like often when you have books, you often have like it's based around Greek, or you have Nordic, or you have also not often that Nordic, but sometimes you have Norse myths, and then you have Egyptian, and then you have Roman. But you don't really have that like those old stories like King Midas. That's a myth slash story. What's the difference between myth and story? I'm not quite sure, but yeah, King Midas, and then you have like mythical places like Atlantis and El Dorado and Shangri-La. And those aren't really used that much in books, at least not in the books that I encounter. And I kind of want more books set there, really. Or for example, also like the Library of Alexandria. We know that it existed, but it doesn't exist anymore. And I kind of think it would just kind of be so fun to have like either standalone or just kind of trilogy or duology set around that. I think that would be so cool. And yeah, so if you know any books around those topics, please comment them down below. And then we have the last, which is the O, which is the A with a circle above it. And with this one, I'm going with O as in plot twist, or as in a book that made like oh many times during reading the book. Also, again, this could be a lot of books. I love reading, obviously, but yeah, I also really like plot twists. Sometimes I don't want that in, but sometimes I just like, there's someone to watch me. Plot twist, so cool. The Long Game by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This came out a few years ago, but I read it early this year, and I love it, love it, love it. It's actually a YA thriller, thriller mystery. I would say, yeah, I'd say it's kind of thrillerish. As I said earlier, I don't really like them that often, but with this one, it kind of worked. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, this one I would say in a way, maybe in a way it has like yes, 2 huge plots. There's also like plot point plot. Sorry. But there's also some plot twists that are like smaller ones, and then there's 2 or 3 like huger ones. Like so, and they're also like it's very fast paced. This book, the first book in duology is like more slow paced, but this one is just like boom, 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 and you can't really catch your breath before a new plot twist is thrown in your face, and it's just a what really, really. And also, yeah, I think this kind give me a small book hangover also. And yeah, so that is my A to C or A till O book tag. I hope you enjoyed it. Also, Black lives still matter. They they have not stopped mattering. Jacob Blake was killed. No, sorry, killed. He was shot on Sunday 7 times. So please take a look on the links link you to down below. Either sign petitions, give little money, or educate yourself by reading books, or voting in the fall if you can vote if you're American. Do what little or how much you can do, and also use Black-owned stores, both bookstores and other stores. And yeah, that's me saying Renee out.